Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Delightful Kiss Boy, and today I want to complain about insurance for no particular reason. Is there any recent event that would inspire me to do such a thing? I can't think of one single thing that would make me think about how much I hate insurance right now. This is completely innocuous, and if there was a recent event that happened, I would not condone it in any way. Hot take, Delightful Kiss Boy never condones murder. Okay, but I get it. But anyway, let's move on. So I'm going to complain about insurance right now because I had it's not health insurance, mind you, but it is a home insurance issue that I had that made for one of probably the worst years of my life. Which was awesome, and that was courtesy of a small little mom and pop company you may have heard called State Farm, which, let me tell you, if you're considering getting State Farm insurance, don't, okay? Now, I should say don't, but in all honesty, any sort of affordable insurance that you're going to be able to get, they're all going to be garbage, okay? They're all abysmal, and they are horrible companies that are scam artists, and it is an atrocious system, and I hate all of them with every ounce of my fucking being. And I want every higher-up in every one of those fucking companies to go burn in hell. And I'm not exaggerating, okay? Now, I would never advocate for... Anyway, we're not getting into it, okay? Anyway. Let's talk about what happened. I'm getting too angry. I'm getting too riled up right off the bat. Well, about 4 years ago, there was a severe windstorm in the area that I live. And that windstorm caused a cottonwood tree from a nearby park to fall over and land square on my house. It hit my roof, punched a giant ass hole in it, broke a bunch of shit, bounced off of my roof, and then landed in my backyard, destroying a lot of my fence and my entire back deck, which was awesome. And then I was just kind of laying in my backyard, which was sick. Now, at the time, I was renting rooms to my sister and brother-in-law, and they had a kid, so my nephew was in one of the rooms. And my sister was sleeping in the room that took the brunt of the force, and my nephew was in the other room that took less of the impact. But miraculously, nobody was hurt. So basically, the tree hit, punched a hole right through the ceiling into those rooms. But once it bounced off, that was it. It didn't go, it didn't hit anybody. Everybody was fine, which I'm very grateful for, because that could have been awful. Could have been really bad. What was funny is I actually didn't even know what was going on because I was sleeping in the opposite side of the house. Well, I wasn't sleeping. I was just kind of like chilling in bed. And since, they had a kid, I would put so my nephew slept with a white noise machine, and I slept with basically a white noise machine. I would put on a rain on a tent sounds, and somehow that completely drowned out the noise of a colossal tree hitting my house. So I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and then I started hearing my brother-in-law yelling because he was downstairs like watching TV or some shit. And then he hears, a tree impact my house and is like worried about his wife and son. So he runs upstairs and he's yelling, because he's like afraid. And that's when I noticed, I'm like, I wonder what's going on out there. So I, roll out of bed at this was like midnight, mind you. Roll out of bed and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then he tells me a tree hit my house. I walk into the room and there's just like insulation everywhere because it poked through my attic down into the room, and there's all this fucking insulation all over the ground. It's all over my sister and brother-in-law's bed. It's just everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, what the hell happened? And then, like, I go downstairs and you can't really see anything because it's night, you know? But then I look in my back, it's like, oh, my entire deck is gone. And in its place is a gigantic tree. So that was crazy. That was a very surreal experience. But yeah, so got some family members to come over and help try to like mitigate, you know. So basically we moved all of the furniture out of the rooms that were hit because it was raining at the time. And so water is getting in, you know, and it's like fucking midnight. So there's no like contractors that are open, you know. So what we did is basically we took all the furniture out that we could get. We put down like towels and tarps that we had in the garage. They brought over some tarps too. Laid them out. Put some like fucking Lowe's like totes or what, I don't know what the fuck you call them, just like bins down to try to collect water that was coming in and shit. It was a nightmare. Didn't get any sleep that night. And then the next morning I like called and tried to get some emergency tarping done from the worst emergency tarping contractor possible, I would say. The reason that I had to go with them was because there was this big windstorm in the area, and so they were the only contractors available, really, that had the bandwidth to take my case. So the reason they were so bad is, so the first time this dude comes out, so I have it's a relatively tall house. It's a 2-story house, and this fucking dipshit brought this tiny ladder. I told them on the phone it's like 2 stories. And he brought this ladder that's like only sufficient to basically reach up like 1 story. So the front of my house, it has like a kind of an awning thing, or like an overhang, and then you can kind of get on that and then get to the higher roof. But the roof is relatively steep, including that like awning. So this dude climbs up onto the roof, onto the awning using the ladder. He gets up, he pulls the ladder up after him, and then this guy's crazy. He sets the ladder up on my awning to get to the next story, and so he's got like a ladder. There's nobody up there with him like holding this shit. He props it up so that like he can fucking, oh my God, dude. So like I was like, this guy's gonna get himself killed. Oh my God. Because he like props it up. It's like the you know, the roof has like a probably like 30-degree angle. This dude's setting up a fucking ladder at a 30-degree angle on shingles to get up to the next fucking story, dude. It was crazy. So he gets up there and he's able to get the tarping done, but then he's fucking stuck on my roof because he can't, you know, surprise, surprise, he can't get back down because it's what he did to get up there was fucking insane. So he has to call his buddies from the company or whatever to come back and bring a bigger ladder, which is like, okay, you guys had a bigger ladder. Why couldn't you have just gone and gotten that in the first place? Anyway, so he's stuck on my roof for like hours. So like I'm like losing my mind at this point, by the way. I'm like, this guy's gonna get himself killed. There's a man stuck on my roof. There's a giant fucking hole in it. It's like everything is going wrong. But you know, he did some minor tarping, but not very good because the hole it was huge. I'll see if I could find some pictures and put them in here. It was fucking huge, but he's just using like, they don't have a tarp big enough to cover the hole. So they're like stringing together 2 tarps to like cover the hole, which of course means there's going to be like a space between the fucking tarps. It was complete nonsense, right? On top of that, after they left and shit, the tarping job just kept like coming off, right? So they did this fucking emergency tarping and it would just keep like coming off in general. I knew that it was leaking anyway because of the fucking space between the tarps that they just like rigged together, but then the entire thing would start coming off, and I have to call them and have them come out, and I had to do that like 4 fucking times. It was complete dog shit. And then finally I was able to switch to a company that that actually knew their shit about emergency tarping, and they nailed a board down with like a tarp in between, and then that finally fixed the issue, but not before that other fucking company did, you know, a ton of water damage to my house because it was just like unavoidable, right? But once again, there was so much damage that all these companies were having to go around and fix from the windstorm that it was just like they couldn't get around to it until later. So it was ridiculous, but in any case, eventually it got tarped, had to get these fucking dudes to come out and like dry everything out because there had actually been so much water damage that the water not only damaged like the carpet in the rooms that were impacted, but it also dripped down through my ceiling on the lower level into my kitchen and then damaged my kitchen floor, which was awesome. You know, it was great stuff. And then, so they had to come out, they had to dry everything out, but my kitchen floor had pretty bad water damage at that point. I had not been living there at the time, so I didn't notice it until later. Basically, I would come out, I was living with my parents at the time because we didn't know if like the house was like structurally sound, you know? And so I would basically go to my parents' place to kick it, and then I would drive up pretty much every day and try to do a brief walkthrough to make sure that the fucking tarping or whatever was holding up. It was complete nonsense. Anyway, all that shit was happening. This is just the mitigation step, by the way. At this point, State Farm has not done shit up until that point. You know what they told me? They told me it would be like a month before they could get an adjuster to come out. Like a fucking month. Like this shit happened in like January or some shit. And then it took them until like the 3rd week of February to actually get an adjuster to come out. And I can't do anything until an adjuster comes out. It was complete nonsense. Now, when the adjusters came out, they were not from the state that I'm from. They were from across the fucking country from where I'm from. I don't know why. It's like, why didn't you have people in the area come to me? But these guys, you know, they just travel across the country assessing damage, I guess. And, you know, they take like a brief look at shit. They come in, of course, they're going to lowball me as much as they can. And the initial quote they gave me for how much damage had been done, basically what they'd have to pay out to get the shit fixed, it was about, I think, 38 grand. Spoiler alert, this whole shit, all of the repairs, all said and done, cost over $200,000. So, you know, they're a little bit off there. They're a little bit off, you know, maybe 1/5, less than 1/5 of what the costs were going to be they initially assessed. Seems like those assessors suck fucking ass at their job. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say? They were just a little bit off, you know? It wasn't 50% off. No, it was 80% off. Good job, guys. Good job, State Farm. You're awesome. You're so cool. I mean, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. These fucking assholes. Anyway, getting into it. So they, you know, they lowball the shit out of me, you know? And they're dragging their feet this whole fucking time. You know, so this entire process, it was going to take them even longer to get somebody to come out, but I kept calling these fuckers up and basically cussing them out. I was so mad. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean it's going to take you a month to get some fucker to come to my house and look at this damage? Look at the hole in my roof. What am I supposed to do? I would just sit on my ass? Meanwhile, people I was renting to, what are they going to do? They got to go. They were living with my brother-in-law's parents for a bit, and it was just like, it was complete fucking nonsense. Eventually, I got an engineer to come out and assess like the repairs, and I also got his opinion on like what basically if it was like structurally sound enough for me to live there, because I didn't really want to live with my parents. No offense to them. I like living in my own place, you know, even if it has a giant hole in its roof. So he tells me, yep, it should be okay, as long as there isn't some, you know, crazy circumstance where there's like a ton of snow or something like that, which I would say foreshadowing, but it's not. It was actually totally fine. So I live in the house at this point. I'm living in a house with a giant hole in its roof. And let me just tell you, it was awesome. It was a great time. It was always cold as shit in there, and there'd be bugs getting in because, you know, hole in the roof. You know, I'm just chilling. And I was pretty depressed at this point because State Farm is dragging their fucking feet. It's taking weeks and weeks and weeks to get them to do anything. Meanwhile, there's a contractor that, you know, they have lined up for the repairs when they actually fucking get a decent assessment, who are just waiting, you know, to do any repairs. But they're like, we can't do anything until your insurance, like, signs off on our minimum, you know, required cost, basically. It's taking them fuck ever. So let me tell you, this basically all, I'm getting into the weeds with it, all said and done, this shit, my house got hit by a tree in January, like January 13th or some shit, like midway through January. Repairs did not start on my house until July. There was mitigation, and then repairs could not start until July because State Farm was that fucking inept. They weren't doing shit. They gave me this initial shitty assessment, and I tell them, this is not going to work. The contractor's saying, no, we need more money than that. The engineer is saying, no, we can't just patch the fucking trusses that are damaged. We need to replace 70 fucking % of the roof. And State Farm is not signing off on it. So finally, in like May, I complained to my state's insurance commissioner, and I threatened to sue State Farm. I do a double whammy. I go to the insurance commissioner and I say, hey, it's been months, and these fucking assholes who I've been paying every month, never missed a payment, to these fuckers, they are not doing their fucking job. And so the insurance commissioner goes to State Farm. I threaten to sue them. I call my insurance agent and I say, I'm going to sue you guys because you aren't doing anything, and I'm living in a destroyed fucking house. What am I paying you for? What am I paying you for? This is completely ridiculous. All this time, by the way, mind you, they were shifting my case from, you know, person to person. There's basically a person that handles your case. It kept getting shifted, thrown around, and every fucking time they'd call me and have me re-explain the situation to them. It was getting thrown from person to person to person. I don't know why. I would ask them, I'm like, why? What happened to the other guy? And they say, I don't know. I just got this case. I'm like, what the fuck is going on over there? What the fuck is wrong with you people? You people are insane, and you're driving me insane. I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm losing my mind now in hindsight. I have so much pent up rage for this fucking company. It is insane. Anyway, after I threatened to sue them and involve the insurance commissioner, all of a sudden they're rolling out the red carpets. Imagine that. Imagine that. They all of a sudden are just approving everything. It's almost like they could have been doing that from the beginning, which is just, oh my God, dude. So they finally approved the shit, and then, you know, I have to wait for the fucking contractors to get permits approved to do the repairs because they have to replace most of the roof. And, you know, my floors, they have to build a new deck, they have to repair my fence. Also, State Farm didn't insure damage to my yard, which was awesome. Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff. So finally the repairs are underway. For months, I'm living in this destroyed ass house. It's awesome. It's incredible. I was losing my mind. I'm pretty sure at the time, well, I won't get into that. Anyway, It was awful. It was an awful time. And then finally, it's like, okay, repairs are starting. We need to put you in temp housing. And so they get me this shitty apartment that was really annoying, and I didn't like it. And so I was living in there, and the repairs took the rest of the year and then some, a little bit. So I was living in temp housing for like 6 or 7 months in this shitty apartment, you know. This is also like 2 years, like 1 or 2 years after I bought my house. So I'm all excited about, you know, being a new homeowner. It's great. I've been saving up, bought my house, and then it's like, all right, well, within like 2 years, bud, you're going to have to go and live in a shitty apartment again. Oh, I was doing that this whole time to try to save up for the fucking house, but now I got to go back. It smelled like fucking cigarettes and shit, dude. And then during this time when I was in the temp housing, I was just extremely depressed and playing 4D Minesweeper basically all day. I would essentially work, and then I would go back to my apartment, and then I would play 4D Minesweeper. Actually, I didn't even go to work because it was like during COVID, so we hadn't had return to office yet. So I would literally just be sitting in this shitty apartment all day working for the first half of the day, and then I would go and basically lay in the bed and play 4D Minesweeper all night. It's now one of my top played Steam games, and that was the most deranged shit. It'll tell you about the mental headspace I was in that I would put that much time into a game that cursed. Anyway, it was awful. It was the worst year of my life. It's all thanks to State Farm. You know, it all got repaired in the end. I had to pay a $6,000 deductible, but the rest was covered by State Farm eventually. But let me tell you, I was so angry that entire year. And so it begs the question, you know, why do we put up with these fucking insurance companies fucking us over? The contract should be this, you know, with an insurance company, right? You pay every month a certain price that they have, you know, they tell you, right? They do the research. They've got all the data. And they say this is a fair price for the safety net that we're going to give you, right? And if this was a fair and just world, they would just pay out when they agree to pay out. You know, it would be, I pay for a service. It's unlikely that I'm going to need a payout, but it will happen, you know, but they've done all the math. And so I should just be able to go to my insurance company and have them fucking pay what they agreed to pay, you know? But that is not the case. And instead, what I'm doing is I've paid, and I basically have to pay because, you know, to get a fucking loan, a mortgage, I have to basically pay for home insurance for most lenders, you know. No, instead, I'm paying a monthly fee so that when something actually happens, the company can fight me tooth and nail to do anything. They don't want to have to pay for anything. They don't want to do anything. They're not your fucking friends. They don't give a fuck about you. Instead, they just give a fuck about the money that you give them. And they really couldn't give a shit if you have a good experience or not. They're not like a good neighbor. They're a pile of steaming shit. And I hope that the CEO of State Farm burns in hell. I hope there's an afterlife just so that fucker can burn in hell. Because fuck that guy. It sucks. Our insurance companies in our nation of the United States of America are complete dog shit, and they need to be erased from the planet. And so my advice to you is based on your situation now, depending on your income, etc., you may need to pay for higher coverage, so that you don't just completely lose all your money. But if you can afford it, attempt to pay the least amount for insurance possible, because it doesn't matter if you're paying out the ass for, a high coverage policy. They're going to drag their feet and do everything they can to avoid paying you when they need to and when they agreed to. And so you might as well just pay for the minimum amount of coverage to get a lender to lend to you. Same thing for car insurance, right? Basically, I put minimum in everything except for like liability insurance, right? I don't drive a fancy car. I don't give a shit. I drive a Toyota Corolla. I sound like that fucking SBF guy, the dude who got arrested for conning people with what was his website called? It was the one that all the fucking finance YouTubers were promoting, and ended up being a scammer. But I mean, that dude's big thing is, I drive a Toyota Corolla. I do too, bud. But I don't give a fuck about that car, right? I don't really give a shit if it gets totaled. The only thing I care about is if I ram my shitty car into a millionaire's, Mercedes, in which case I will want some insurance to pay out for that. But anyway, the point is, pay the least amount possible based on your financial situation for insurance, because it is all bullshit and it all sucks ass. And I hate every insurance company. I really just hate every company in general, honestly. I have so many bad experiences with the average company that is, I'm just jaded and angry. All right. So anyway, this was not a very chill video. This was me being upset because, as you can tell, this shit, these emotions do not die down over time. Frankly, I was embarrassed during that entire thing. I felt like embarrassed. I was trying to do everything in my power to get this company to not fuck me over, not scam me over, Everybody this entire time is like, you still haven't had repairs start? And, that was embarrassing. It's like, I'm trying to do everything in my power. I'm calling them. They keep switching me from place to place. I'm calling my agent and I'm saying, your fucking company isn't doing what it needs to do. Oh, I'll call them and I'll make sure that this is going on. And eventually it took threatening to sue them to get them to do anything close to the right thing. It's just absolutely insane horseshit. And man, what a rotten fucking company. What a rotten system. It is absolutely disgusting. So anyway, this is probably not the usual chill, delightful Kiss Boy talk. But boy, howdy, does that make me mad. So anyway, you've heard that's about a half hour of me whining to you. But I don't really know what you're going to get out of this, but I just wanted to rant. Maybe you find it entertaining, or maybe you are dealing with, insurance bullshit as we speak. And you can have some solidarity to be found in this video. I wish you the best. Do everything in your power to not let these companies fuck you over. But, being real, there's not much we can do, is there? It feels great, doesn't it? So, on that note, I'm gonna sign off. All right, I'm gonna go take a nice warm shower and calm down. All right, bye-bye.